Hello, everybody. This is Dawn Chanel. Thank you so much for clicking in and sticking in. We are so happy to have a special guest today that Akiana and I will be interviewing. His name is Ronnell Brown. He's an African American born citizen, and now he actually lives in Tokyo. He's also a musician, and he's been doing music for a very long time, and his music is also being done in Tokyo today. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Akiana take it away, and let's learn a little bit more about what Ronnell can share with us in regards to what's going on in Tokyo in relation to what's going on here in America.
So, just to dig in your brain a little bit, tell me just a little bit, what has your overall experience been with being a human being, if that makes any sense, or in your own words, tell me what your experience has been.
My overall experience as a human being has been positive. I try to keep a positive outlook. I was probably a little bit too wild as a kid, maybe a little wild as an adult too, but I've calmed down a lot. I think my overall experience is just that, life is what we make it, and we make these experiences in our mind, and then we see what they look like in the real world. And so I don't try to blame people. I don't get mad about things, because I realize I kind of put them there for myself to experience. So my overall experience is that I'm just living in my mind, and that's what we're doing. We're living it out.
Do you feel you've been subjected to racism?
As far as racism, I think I've experienced it. It's hard to tell if it was racism or just, dealing with assholes. I haven't experienced any blatant racism. Maybe once I had some guy yell out, "Get out the street, nigger," to me and my friend while we were walking in the street. We were being kind of little bad kids too. But I guess he didn't have to say it that way. So maybe that was only purely blatant racism that I've experienced. Might have been some other subtle things, and I'm sure there were, but it's hard to say for sure.
Hey, Ronnell, this is Dawn. I have a question in regards to children. Can you share with our listeners, if you have any children, and maybe we can kind of delve a little bit more into what that's like?
I have one child. I have a daughter. She's 12 at this time. She lives here. She's biracial. Her mom is Japanese. She lives here in Tokyo with her mom. I see her whenever I like, so that's the good thing. They just live nearby.
So just from what you've experienced being with them, or what they may have told you, what are your experiences in involving them that you deal with racism, or what challenges have you faced with them that you could speak on?
Her experience has been overall very positive. I think she spent more time in Japan than she has in America. She was in America from about 2 to 4.5, almost 5 years old. And so she was a little young to have any lasting experiences that may be racist, nothing she could understand. I mean, she was a cute little baby, so most people really liked her when she was around in America. I don't think she's experienced anything like that. In Japan, she hasn't. Japan's a slightly different place, and biracial kids in the past have sometimes been looked at a little strange, but it's not exactly a racist thing. It's more of an unfamiliar thing. And so people kind of become, almost like an oddity or a zoo creature, and everybody wants to look and do things, but not because they're racist or feel they're better than you, but just because it's something different. And so in the countryside, you might experience that more if you're, black or something, or biracial. But here in Tokyo, there's a lot more of it. So I think people are pretty much comfortable with it, and you don't see that so much. So my daughter hasn't had any real experiences that would make her uncomfortable or feel like there's racism. But she has a good understanding of racism because, she's old enough, and we talk about what's going on in America and what's going on around the world. So she's aware of it.
the police like in Japan? Like, what is an average you get pulled over? What is that experience like? Or just in general, how is the police structure set up in Japan?
The police in Japan are generally respectful. It's a complete 180 from America. I haven't had any bad experiences. I've had them stop me and ask me things on many occasions, but I also understand that they do that. I've seen them stop 60-year-old Japanese men and check their bike to make sure it's not stolen, So I don't think it's racism as far as how the police deal with people out here. I have had a couple foreign friends who tell me how bad the police are to them and how many problems they've had. But like I said at the beginning, I think we're creating our own thoughts and living through them. And I do believe those people have made those situations and placed on it what it seems like in their mind because they're living that out. And, I don't think that's the case. I think if they look at it different, it wouldn't happen like that. When you already expect it to be that way, you start to play into that reality. You respond to them as if it's that way. Then they respond back to you. And then it seems like you were right. But maybe if they thought about it different, they'd respond differently when they deal with the Japanese police. And it wouldn't play out how they think it should in their mind. And they, might be pleasantly surprised. So I think, for people who have had bad experiences as foreigners in Japan with the police, a lot of it is due to their own perspective and the way they respond to the police interactions.
What was your experience at the protest? Like, what was going through your mind, or what feelings were jolting through your body when you were protesting Black Lives Matter in Japan? What did that feel like for you? Or give us a glimpse of your time frame there.
At the protest here in Tokyo, it's very organized. It's a different thing than America. You don't just decide to take to the streets and scream. It's organized where they have thousands of officers control our walking route, let us do what we want to do, but just make sure it's safe for traffic to continue, and it's safe for pedestrians, and it's safe for us to say what we want to say. So it's just highly organized, but it's still, you're allowed to do what you want to do.
And lastly, I'm going to give you the floor. Just share whatever is on your heart, what's on your mind. What is a few things you would like people to take away from this interview, or what's something, that you would like to share about the overall route that the world is turning and what we're facing as of today in 2020.
And, I can say that moving out of America was one of the best decisions I made. I've done it twice, both times moving to Japan. And I do like America because it's where I grew up. So I have a certain level of familiarity that makes me comfortable. But at the same time, it's very uncomfortable because, all the stress we deal with there is unnecessary. None of it is anything anybody has to deal with if they could think logically about it. So America's in a bad state because they can't recognize that. The vibration's very low. And that's what I knew a long time ago. And I knew it wasn't the place I want to spend most of my time or have my daughter kind of subjected to all the time, because that energy is it's destructive, it's negative, and it affects the way you think. It affects the way you deal with people, even people who feel like, it doesn't bother me, I'm okay. It has an effect. It does. And it's a very different feeling to be in a place where you don't have to consider the same things. Nobody's going to break in your car. You drop your wallet, it's going to get mailed back to you with the money in it, probably. It's a different kind of place here. So the stresses are different. It allows you to kind of free your mind from a lot of limiting things that go on in the States that sometimes people don't know exist until you step out of it and don't realize how much they were limiting the way they think about life.
Hey, Ronnell, this is Dawn. I 100% agree and align with everything that you just said. I totally understand why you chose to uproot from the country you were born in and bring your daughter over to a new country. Because like you said, the experiences that are going on right now are just not healthy for us. And you use the term vibration. A lot of people do not use that term. A lot of people do not speak that language. That is a different type of language for people who are beginning to see the real vision, the real picture. So some people don't use that term vibration. So I just want to touch on that a little bit, just to give it a little parallel. It's kind of similar to, for example, what he means by not having a high vibration. Let's just say you enter into a space where there is someone dwelling. It might be a child's bedroom, maybe a teenager's bedroom, sports socks, dirty clothes, mustiness, windows closed, no fresh air. It's not a pleasant smell, but for whatever reason, the teenager doesn't even seem to flinch. He does not necessarily realize that it's just not the place to be. It's not the place to be. Why? Well, because the teenager has gone nose blind. And I guess that is what a lot of people have done here in America. We've gone nose blind. We feel the negativity, but we don't address it or even think twice about it because we think it's normalized, and it does not have to be normalized. A high vibration should be normalized. Feeling good on a continuous basis should be normalized on a daily basis, right? The fussing and the fighting and all this and that is just an ugly emotional roller coaster that we don't want to experience necessarily, but when we're experiencing it so often, we forget that we don't want to experience it. Like if we're smelling something that's so horrible and we forget the smell because we're so nose blind, we forget that we really don't want to be smelling this. So I get that you uprooted, from here, from America, and went over to Japan to get the feeling, to help your vibration rise and to help make sure that their daughter was in a space that was conducive to healthy growth and maturity. And I commend you for that. Okay. So I also, I want to thank you very much. Me and Akiana both, we thank you for being on our show today, for being our special guest and sharing this information with us and giving giving us what we want to know, like what's going on in other parts of the country. So thank you so much for giving us a little peek into all of that.
Thank you for having me on your show. Let me be a part of this. I appreciate the chance to give my perspective and maybe enlighten some people to how things are from a Black person's view in Tokyo. Thanks again.
Now, before we get out of here, you guys, I do want you to know that you can follow the music of Ronnell Brown and his band. They have a website. The website is melatoninmusic.com. Now, it's not your traditional spelling, so let me give you the spelling. It is, how should I say, trendy spelling, mellow, mellow.music.com, melatoninmusic.com. So make sure you swing by there and check it out. All right, guys, we will be back in just a few minutes for more stories for today's show.
Yeah. It's melatonin. We got Brother 73rd, Soulful Keys, and me. Yeah. My name's Ronnell. I got a hot barrel like SWAT, but I'm not LL. A collar barrel, I'm not Samuel L, but I pop that MOL. I drop hella rhymes what they sell. One time I tell I'm on top, but I excel. Will I stop? Not now. I bag you with the pipes. Your hype, your pipe down. I got the right sound. You're right down the bike. Keep your teeth in your mouth. Got beat. I knock 'em out so brief that you doubt time. Even elapse, leaving these raps in your memory banks. They never blinks. You can take all the energy drinks you think you need for speed, but I'm gonna be frank. You get a spank and I fill up your tank with lead. Fill up my head with ink. I kill you dead. You bled. That ain't paid, son. You're feeling faint. You fled. Still in my sights. Wave the white flag, boy. Save it 'cause you can't run.